by Sagicor is
7 o'clock.
What would you do if a date asked you how much you weigh?
Ask him how much his mama weigh.
All new Family Feud.
Ganga and Saga have gone to get Krishna.
Yes.
Niranjan is in critical condition. We cannot wait any longer. They should come immediately.
Why won't you do the test? Tell me, Kashish, why won't you do it?
Because I'm not pregnant, Ganga.
I cannot allow a liar like you to live in my house. Get out of here right now.
The Chaturvedis will never be able to guess who is behind all of this. And hats off to you, Yash.
Yash? Get in the car, then our driver is going to take you straight to your daughter.
Ganga.
Brought to you by
Hyundai or Hyundai.
Jamaica, the Reggae Boys are on the road to the 2026 World Cup. On Tuesday, June 10 at 6 p.m., we converge on the National Stadium as Jamaica battles Guatemala in World Cup qualifiers. Let's bring the noise for the boys and fill up the office. Admission, bleachers, $1,500. Grandstand, $5,500. VIP, $10,000. Get your tickets now at jff.corporate.com or visit the JFF on Instagram. June 10, come make noise for the boys. And it's brought to you by Ray Neville, Stuart Auto, St. Mary's Snacks, Just Bet, Powerade, True Shake, and Water.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, 27 million Jamaican dollars in cash and several high-end vehicles seized in Lotto scam bust. Minister Chang says investments in transformation of JCF will be worth it. Foreign nationals killed in St. James collision, 2-year-old among several injured. And in sports, Jamaica advanced to final round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Saturday, June 7, 2025. I am Curlin Brown. The Commissioner of Police and the Minister of National Security are promising better returns as crime-fighting strategies are fine-tuned to stamp out criminality. As we hear in this report, senior officials, while looking to transformation, are also mindful of the human element.
Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang insisted that the JCF is committed to institutional excellence, strategic innovation, and the highest standard of service to the nation. An upcoming expo will showcase the latest efforts to deal with criminality and will foster discussions at the executive levels on the execution of improved strategies.
This expo is not merely a showcase, it is a declaration. It declares to the nation and the world that our police force, this force for good, is not static, but dynamic, evolving, firmly rooted in the pillars of people, quality, and technology, prepared to deal with any mitigating action the criminals take.
This assertion made at the staging of the distinguished 2025 Police Mensa Lecture, being welcomed by several stakeholders. Crime fighting, Dr. Chang maintains, must be fought on all fronts.
For me, this lecture represents the embodiment of a new and elevated tradition within the law enforcement agency, one that affirms the value of rigorous intellectual engagement, pulse-driven discourse in public safety and security. Indeed, the leadership of the force is taking a more cerebral approach to policing. We have some tough characters to deal with out there, and therefore the police has to be well-trained, well-armed, and equipped with the tools for law enforcement.
For his part, Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake notes transformation must begin from within and is desirous that the JCF becomes an elite force for good. The JCF, he says, is moving to have crime-free business environments, safe public spaces, and prompt disaster responses, as well as transparent and effective law enforcement.
When there was call for the JCF to be disbanded, there was a time when how we were described, it appeared as if there is no hope. The best thing and the only thing to do is to just get a new force.
Transformation, he maintains, is useless if the people within the force are not given over to a new mindset. A new way of thinking, Dr. Blake says, must be adopted in going forward, and the investment is well underway.
I tell my staff all the time, I don't mind what people say. What bothers me more is when my members believe that this is who they are. And until I can get them to see that you are more, then transformation will not take place. And so it's important that we place transformation, the people pillar of transformation, in the forefront of our transformation.
Damon Phillips, CVM News.
At the same time, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, is moving apace to modernize and transform the organization. The government can now claim with evidence to support it's taking seriously, among other things, the misuse and mismanagement of government property in the JCF through better vehicle tracking and fleet management, which has been a long-standing issue. The application of technology will also see members being much safer and efficient. And as we get the details, artificial intelligence, AI, will be making life less complicated for both citizens and crime fighters.
Please welcome Constable Smart to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the newest member of JCF.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force on a continued drive to transform and modernize. For their part, the Amber Group and the government collaborating to ensure that citizens will be able to have a better grasp on their constitutional rights, opting to avoid dealing with the human interactions at the government level.
We have put terabytes of data inside of all Jamaican law, every single act. You can even ask Act 13, Section 2, what does it stand for? It will give you all of those answers. The bot, the AI agent, Constable Smart, is ready and alive.
Developers say Constable Smart will be guiding users through legal and compliance questions and concerns raised. Citizens, for example, will just by voice interaction know how many traffic tickets they have accumulated.
If you have 10 points on your license already and you accumulate 4 more points, Dia 30 will suspend your license 5-6 months. So you need 4 more points to reach the suspension threshold.
A long-term vision, the artificial intelligence will eventually see citizens being more efficient in making reports with a guarantee of reduced frustration and the intimidation that is oftentimes experienced. It could also lead to less time in the office for lawmen and more visibility on the streets to prevent crimes and facilitate the completion of ongoing investigations.
Imagine now all our police stations in Jamaica, when you walk in, there'll be an AI agent waiting for you. You go up to it, you talk to it, you file your report, it'll ask you questions, it will even interrogate and ask you the right way so that it collects all the data it needs about your situation, what has happened, where it happened, who was involved. And can you imagine, it files the entire report for you into the database of JCF itself without anybody having to sit down and write all of those things.
So safety for all, a big priority item for the JCF. Smart solutions through the use of artificial intelligence to ensure greater security in times of trouble and/or uncertainty. The JCF investing heavily in the Amber Group and its offerings in vehicle tracking and fleet management. A long-standing issue for the JCF of lack of accountability to include the misuse and mismanagement of government property.
We now built AI agent in our apps that would actually consolidate, summarize, and you can talk to an agent to ask anything about your vehicles or your fleet. And at the same time, we built Jamaica's first call center agent. So when you are in an emergency, the vehicle actually, you actually as a owner of the vehicle would get a call from the AI agent, and the agent will speak to you just like a human, ask you questions and make sure you're okay, and then it will also immobilize your engine on the phone if you ask it to.
Damon Phillips, CVM News.
And the Jamaica Constabulary Force continues to target the illicit gains of lottery scammers in the western parish of St. James, making an announcement Saturday of seizures valued at multi-millions of dollars. Joel Crosskill has the details.
The proceeds of lottery scamming operations spanning several districts within St. James are now in the possession of the police, following a sweeping operation within the parish through the joint efforts of a number of agencies within the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Deputy Superintendent Dave Brown, who leads the anti-lottery scam unit at Area 1 headquarters, shared details about the bust.
On Thursday, the 5th of June, we launched our initiative dubbed Scam Done, Justice Around. Over those 3 days, we've confiscated over $27 million in cash, 19,780 US dollars, 200 Canadian, and 380 pounds. We've also seized a number of electronic devices to include laptops, cell phones, lottery scam paraphernalia, lead sheets. We've also arrested over 12 persons.
The lawmen issued a warning to others engaged in the illicit lottery scamming activity that their possessions will also soon be in the hands of the JCF as operations are intensified.
We have also seized a number of high-end motor cars. These include 3 Benz motor cars, 3 BMWs, 3 Toyota Crowns, Voxy, as well as a Mark X. These criminals normally try to hide their money by funneling them through these pop-up car marts, and we intend to use our investigative arms within the JCF, that's the Financial Investigative Division, and JCF, to try to trace these monies and to see their origin.
DSP Brown, in lauding the reduction in violent crimes within the parish since the start of the year, says to watch this space.
This initiative is aimed at taking out the finances out of crime. As you know, lottery scamming has been contributing to a number of gang activities, which leads to murder and shooting. So we intend to be relentless in our fight against these scam bags, for them to really find more ethical and moral means of making a living. My team and I are very committed, and we will be relentless in our fight against these scam bags.
Joel Crosskill, CVM News.
Also in St. James, a 2-year-old was among several injured in a motor vehicle collision that claims the lives of 2 foreign nationals along the Rose Hole Main Road Saturday morning. One of the vehicles, a grey Mazda Primacy, was being driven by 38-year-old Anthony Ziggy Evans. On board were 32-year-old Christina Mirage, 39-year-old Crystal Williams, and 2-year-old Ronique Barrett, all of Spanish Town addresses. The other, a purple Mazda Demio motor car driven by Mario Bannett, a 28-year-old construction worker and a Dominican Republic national, along with passengers Molina Iverson, a 25-year-old construction worker and also a Dominican Republic national who resides at Coral Gardens, St. James. Another Dominican national, only known as Kalim or Kalim, and an unidentified male of dark complexion, medium build, was dressed in red shorts, white shirt and white shoes, were also on board. Information reaching our newsroom is the Primacy was traveling from the direction of Iron Shore, heading towards Falmouth, while the Demio was traveling in the opposite direction. Upon reaching a section of the main road in the vicinity of Bush Doctor, the Demio reportedly veered into the path of the other vehicle. Bannett, who was driving the Demio, and the unidentified male who was in the front passenger seat died as a result of injuries they received. All the other passengers were transported to the Falmouth Hospital where they were treated for various injuries, according to Commanding Officer for St. James, SSP Aaron Samuels.
We're just beseeching persons using the roadways to remember that they ought to take time whilst driving. We have had several fatal collisions of recent, and they all lead to speeding and improper use of the road. And we're asking persons just to exercise due care on the road, both as pedestrians and as persons operating motor vehicles. We are seeing a major reduction in violent crimes, but we are very concerned now about the increase in fatal collisions.
7 families who lost their homes to a devastating fire in East Avenue 4 years ago will soon receive the keys to their reconstructed homes. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony in the Central Kingston community, described the construction as transformational.
A multi-family development will soon be reconstructed in the East Avenue community to benefit 7 families whose homes were destroyed by fire in 2021. Both adults and students completing the Caribbean Secondary Examination (CSEC) will benefit from the redevelopment.
Today, we are going to transform a yard that was destroyed by arson. We are going to transform lives that were destroyed in that fire, being deprived of somewhere to live, deprived of their furniture and their equipment and their clothing. We're going to transform the lives of children who were affected by this fire, where they had no place to study. We're going to be transforming a community that, by virtue of this act of violence and the destruction of the residents, the community would have been depressed. The value of the community would have been depressed. We're going to transform that. So we are at 4 East Avenue in the heart of Central Kingston. We are 13 persons, including elderly residents and school children, lost everything in 2021 to a devastating fire.
The construction is part of the government's new social housing program aimed at improving the housing condition of the country's disadvantaged population.
The new social housing program will be fulfilling one of its modalities that we don't really use too often, and that is the construction and the redevelopment of what we ordinarily call in Jamaica big yard or tenement yard. One property where several households reside. A more elegant way to put it would be the multi-family housing solution. So we are now going to be building, I believe, 7 units here to cater to 7 distinct households, which we call a multi-family development.
A total of $58 million was spent on the construction.
It gives me great pleasure to formally initiate the process of breaking ground and signing the $58.86 million contract to build these units. The architectural designs are lovely. It is going to raise the standard of this area.
Raheem White for CVM News.
Now, more than 2,000 students who struggle to read will benefit from Literacy on Wheels, a revolutionary initiative aimed at reaching students where they are. Tutors will be equipped with mobile units designed as classrooms, which will help them to reach the students who may be left behind in the classroom. Adrian Williams tells us more.
Stacey Robinson created the Youth Empowering Change in Attitude Towards School ECATS initiative, which is a mobile resource center aimed at improving the literacy skills of students. Through this initiative, children will first be assessed to determine what their needs are.
We are going to assess these students. We want to know where they are so that we can know if it is that this program is going to reach them at the right place. So one of the kits that was recommended is Renaissance Phonics, and we're going to be using that to assess the students and to see where they are and what we need to do to assist them to get further. Remember, this is literacy in motion, equity on wheels. So it's no longer just some children whose parents can afford to send them to reading class will get this opportunity. It's also those parents who probably just can send them to school from Monday to Friday during the regular school hours. We are saying we are going to connect to them as well.
ECATS will partner with the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information to train teachers and community volunteers to assess and tutor students with reading difficulties. The tutors will be trained to utilize various teaching methods to enhance their lessons. Robinson believes that by incorporating fun activities like creative games into reading lessons, students will become more interested in reading, which will further impact their literacy skills.
We're going to be having a few kits. You might see them on display. Go ahead, look, touch, feel, ask questions about them, because we are going to be helping our teachers to be able to utilize the methodologies from these training.
Shoshana Barracks is a literacy coordinator and educator helping to empower young readers.
Now through Literacy on Wheels, this effort is expanding to 10 parishes, reaching over 2,000 students who are at risk of being left behind. We are talking about mobile units retrofitted as classrooms, driven by trained tutors carrying not just books, but compassion and strategy. The ECATS Literacy on Wheels Revolution partners with the Ministry of Education to train tutors, the Jamaica Society for the Blind to provide eye screening and glasses, the Jamaica Library Service to deliver age-appropriate reading materials. Together, we are not waiting for children to come to us. We are bringing literacy to their doorsteps.
Adrian Williams for CVM News.
And CVM News at 7 will continue in just a moment.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in tiny beats of our most intimate moments to the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we know what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing no matter what.
We welcome you back with our regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Barbados's first major oil spill has been contained, and the nearby Oistins Bay Garden has reopened for business after it and the surrounding community were severely impacted by the early morning incident, as we hear from CBC News Barbados.
The oil spill, which originated from the Barbados National Energy Company's pump facility, triggered a response from several agencies, including the BNCL, the Barbados Fire Service, the Barbados Police Service, and other emergency services. The alarm was raised by tenants of the Oistins Bay Garden, and after more than 12 hours of frantic work, the responders were reporting that the operation was a success. Damian Catlin, BNCL Manager of Health and Safety, provided this update.
We have been successful in isolating first the leak, then isolating the spill that occurred due to the leak, and then finally we shifted into the cleanup mode, and we have been successful in the cleanup. We have recovered about 1,000 barrels of crude oil. We have reached the stage now that we are starting to jet the drains. So the drains leading to the marine outfall have been cleaned and jetted.
Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar is warning Venezuela that Trinidad and Tobago's Coast Guard has been authorized to use deadly force against any unidentified vessel entering TNT's national waters. TTT News provides this update.
That they can do whatever they want on Venezuelan territory, but they cannot come here. TNT territory is off limits to them.
On Thursday, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar made it clear to Venezuela that Trinidad and Tobago will defend its borders by any means necessary.
We have to take all threats against any incursion into our territory seriously. I will speak to Minister of Defense and Attorney General to seek advice on protections for our Coast Guard, to use deadly force on any unidentified vessel entering TT waters from Venezuela.
Her statement follows recent comments made by Venezuelan officials, including its Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello, citing unverified claims of Trinidadian involvement in paramilitary activity, where its minister vowed to pursue anyone attempting to destabilize Venezuela.
With respect to a paramilitary group entering Venezuela from Trinidad, I say categorically we have no evidence to validate this at this point. I saw also in today's paper where the Venezuelan Justice Minister claimed that the Trinidadian Kendall Geron was supposedly captured in this group. Again, we have seen no evidence to support the comments from these Venezuelan officials.
And in international news, military-style immigration raids have been taking place across the U.S. city of Los Angeles in the past few hours. Federal agents have targeted workers at construction sites, hardware stores, and factories. Activists say dozens of people have been detained. More from Al Jazeera.
A show of force in Los Angeles. Masked officers in military-style uniforms, flanked by armored vehicles, took to several parts of the city. Dozens of people were bundled up in unmarked vans. Community groups say workers at a clothing store and a home hardware shop were targeted. No! The operation prompting a tense standoff with residents. Agents use flashbang grenades to try and clear crowds who hope to hinder their operation. An operation that's prompted heavy condemnation from activist groups.
Our community is under attack and is being terrorized. These are workers. These are fathers. These are mothers. And this has to stop.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has expressed deep anger over the raids, calling them cruel and chaotic.
To me, when these things happen, it sows a sense of terror in the community. It's bad enough that it happened at this location, but the way this goes and spreads throughout the community, then people are not sure where they're safe.
And that's it for regional and international news.
Ronaldo Adams continues our broadcast with sports after this.